I want to welcome everybody to our bi-monthly 20-minute webinar. Today we're going to be talking about some of the unique things we can do with HyperTone stains. For those of you that do not know me, I am Robert McNamara. I'm the Director of Marketing and Sales for Basic Coatings. We are joined today, the leader of our stain wizardry, Tim Nathan, who's out of not Milwaukee. What city do you live in, Tim?
A little tiny town called Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin.
Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. Tim covers the Midwest for us and is going to be doing most of the talking today. We're going to start with a 5-minute video and then a quick presentation by Tim. And then what we're going to do is open it up to questions. So for those of you that have never joined a Zoom meeting, if you can't figure it out, you can text me your questions. My cell number is 216-633-4124. And for those of you that know how to use Zoom meetings, there's a little chat box or a question box. And while Tim's doing his stuff, I will start jotting down some questions and we'll get to those. So we should be done in about 20 minutes. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Nathan.
Sounds good. Good morning, everyone. Let me get this video up and rolling, and then that way we can move on to questions later on. Quick screen share.
HyperTone stains are an incredibly versatile product that enable you to change the color of and tone wood floors in a variety of ways. In this video, we will show you a few different methods of using HyperTone stains. HyperTone stains can be used as a traditional wood floor stain with a richness, consistency, and depth of color not found in other stains. When compared to traditional solvent-based stains, HyperTone stains are low odor, easy to clean, and there are no concerns about spontaneous combustion and fires with discarded rags. In addition to these unique features, we are now extremely pleased to announce that HyperTone stains can be used as a tint additive in approved basic coatings water-based finishes. This new option changes the game and opens up all types of opportunities and solutions for wood flooring professionals, whether your projects are high-end residential, commercial, or sports floors. Imagine the benefits of adding HyperTone stain as a tint into your finish instead of having to use paint on your floors. When using HyperTone stains as a traditional wood flooring stain, prepare the floor using NWFA or MFMA guidelines. Vacuum and tack the floor to remove any dust or debris. As with most hardwood flooring stains, uniformly water popping is recommended to open the grain and allow more consistent, deeper, and richer color penetration. Since this product is a unique water-based formula, there is no need to wait for the floor to dry completely before beginning application of stain, but do not apply to flooring that has standing water or puddles. Apply stain directly to the floor using a roller in 3 to 4 foot strips, working across the floor with the grain. Use thick terry cloth rags to remove excess stain and blend to a uniform appearance. Once application of stain is complete, wait 15 to 20 minutes. Then allow increased and balanced air movement and fresh air exchange to help dry the stain. Once the stain is dry, apply an appropriate basic coating, sealer, and finish. Please refer to the Basic Coatings HyperTone Stain Technical Data Sheet and Hand Application video for complete information on this application method. You can use HyperTone stains to tint approved Basic Coatings water-based finishes for sand and finish work, as well as screen and recoat jobs. Prepare the floor using NWFA or MFMA guidelines for sanding and or screening. When using HyperTone stains as a tint, use only in specifically approved Basic Coatings water-based finishes. A complete list can be found in the HyperTone Stains Technical Bulletin. Wood flooring needs to have at least one coat of an approved basic coating sealer before applying tinted finish. Allow the sealer to dry per instructions on the label. The amount of stain you add to the finish will depend on the color and level of opacity you want to achieve. However, we do not recommend exceeding a 1 to 10 stain to finish ratio. This translates to a maximum of 12.8 ounces of stain to a gallon of finish. When tinting finish, mix each product separately according to label directions prior to combining. Then combine the products by pouring into a container large enough to hold the materials. Then continue to blend with a stir stick until the products are mixed and uniform in color. Using a T-bar or trim pads will yield the best results. Avoid using a roller. Use care to apply the tinted finish in a uniform thickness. The initial coat of tinted finish can appear streaky. As you apply subsequent coats, the tinted finish should appear more uniform in color. 2 to 3 coats may be required to achieve a desired look. HyperTone stains are versatile enough to be used in place of paint for your sport flooring needs, including game lines. This is best accomplished using a professional-grade foam sleeve or paint pad. Apply HyperTone stains mixed with finish in a manner similar to paint. This includes abrading between coats, applying within 24 hours of a previous sealer or finish coat, and allowing adequate dry time before applying another coat on top. Coating procedures will vary based on the desired colors and opaqueness. However, most applications will likely require at least 2 coats. The benefits of using HyperTone stains to tint finish instead of using paints include the virtual elimination of color transfer when abrading, as well as the improved compatibility between coats, which reduces chipping and peeling. Important tips. Application of tinted finishes can be challenging. Therefore, prior to attempting on a real job site, it's strongly recommended you work on a test floor to become familiar with your application method. This will help ensure product satisfaction and prevent potential job site issues. Always use new applicators. The ratio of stain to finish is highly dependent on the desired color and look. It is important to abrade the sealer coat prior to applying tinted finish. Abrade the sealer so that the sealer coat is not shiny. It needs to be dull to achieve a proper bond. Turns and feathering out will show if not done properly. Avoid making turns when possible by going with the grain and pulling off onto masking material. Do not apply more than 2 water-based products in a single day. If you are interested in basic coatings, HyperTone stains, and all the ways they can be used, we are here to help. You can find more detailed application instructions on our website. Just go to the HyperTone Stains product page and click the HyperTone Stains Technical Bulletin in the Resources section. Or contact us directly at 1-800-441-1934, and we can put you in touch with a basic coatings product expert to help you with any questions about our system.
All right, Mr. Nathan, that was very nice.
So there you go, folks. That was a nice little video from us. I do have a PowerPoint. I'm going to run through a couple of talking points, and then we can do some Q&A following that. So if you bear with me, I'm going to get this loaded up. Am I screen sharing properly? There we go. So there we go. The focus today is on the conversation about tinting finishes with HyperTone. We're going to be the first manufacturer who has vetted out, tested, and can verify that adding a colorant to our finish will not sacrifice adhesion concerns. And when you use it, you don't have to be concerned that the compatibility is going to cause you problems down the road. That's pretty exciting news for the flooring industry because we've all been tinting finishes, but at our own risk in the past. So the benefit, of course, doing this is now you're enhancing the ability to take color concentrations and color capabilities to another level for floor use. It's a process where HyperTone's chemistry can naturally blend into our finish coatings. So instead of you seeing in the past where the pigment is floating in the finish film, wondering whether or not it's going to get uniformity, or the fact that sometimes the color drops to the bottom or the top of the coating when you lay it down on the floor, HyperTone is going to naturally blend and suspend uniformly through the finish film for you. And you noticed in the video, we talked about how you can abrade it with a colorant and it doesn't pull the color back off because it didn't float to the surface. It's suspended inside the film for you. So the sport industry has been doing a lot of this for a long, long time. As the video did mention about pulling off onto plastic and straight lines. We know in the residential world that can't, but in the sport world, they can go higher concentrations. They can go after deeper colors with it, hence to yield more vibrant colors. They can go anywhere from the transparent to the fully opaque, where we mentioned we can talk about doing game lines. This pigment also then gives them a benefit in that world where in the past, certain pigments and dyes and colorants they would have added would fade over time in a more transparent look. Here we can give you better color fastness in that situation. The other little benefit is we're talking about a finish coating as opposed to a full paint. we believe that we can definitely lessen the concerns for paint chipping issues in the future in the sport world. We have obviously some better control opportunities during application. At this level of the sport, you can run higher concentrations. We do recommend T-bar when you're running really, really high concentrations for control. And as in the sport world, and I think we're going to see this maybe translate in the future here, something that I'd like to spearhead. They can use these vinyl masks to create unique patterns, so you don't have to be required to kind of come up with your own artistic angle on it to use unique patterns in a floor. Okay, there we go. So you can see on these projects, these are these vinyl masks that we're talking about. They're almost self-adhesive in nature, like a tape, so that they can lay down on the floor and they can isolate the look of a pattern. Here's another one where you can see in the very steps in the pictures alone, we talk in the video about streaking. As you layer, the end goal is to create a final result that has a uniform in color, but you have to build it through steps if you want that deep of a color tone on a floor. Again, here's an opportunity to talk about how in the residential world as well as in the sport world, you can take an existing floor and through a recoat process, you can add color. Here we were able to create a purple stained look into an existing gym floor that was just through a recoat. And that really draws a lot of uniqueness to what we're doing. For those who would just do residential work, I think we can have that conversation a little bit later in the slideshow, but you can see how you can still see wood grain, you can still see patterns of the wood through the color, but you're giving that whole new look facelift on that floor. Here it shows where we can go up to heavier levels and create a near paint-like look. So all the benefits of the painted look, but none of the negatives of an actual paint. So I got a little video here showing some application. This is a contractor in Iowa who has embraced what we're doing because of his frustrations with the options on the market. And he has gone and found a very unique way to deal with application of a colorant. From afar, it almost looks like it's near paint-like, but there's still translucency, which is what he likes. It makes a more vibrant look on the floor. His customers are enjoying it. So let's get to the residential conversation. In the world of sanding and finishing of floors, we hear that customer ask all the time, I wish it was a little bit more of this. But that's the great part is with this option now, you can adjust that color during the process of the project. That way, if a customer says, hey, can it be more bright white? Can it be a little richer in brown? Can we add a hint of red to it to some degree? This is going to give you that with confidence, knowing that Basic Coatings did the research on our end to verify that the product's play nice together for you. I will say though, on a residential side, you don't have the advantages of a sport conversation where you can tape off and pull perfectly straight lines. So we do recommend lower concentrations of pigment at this level so you can control the application look. You may not be able to create those paint looks on a floor at home unless you're taping off and isolate the spaces properly. So the complication of application is a little higher. You have obstacles to deal with. But if we work on the lower concentrations, you focus on the different ways you can apply it. You can use rollers in these environments where you're lowering the concentration. You can still have the success with it you need. Here's a floor I worked with a contractor. The homeowner wanted to retain some of the old look of the pine floor. So they didn't want all the black, all the old aging sanded out. So he found himself very limited on the ability of getting stain to grab because there were still basically colorants or sealer to some degree. So now we had to treat it like a recoat. So I told him to seal the floor first, since it was a pine, and then he could add a tone to the coat, which yielded a much warmer look that satisfied the homeowner. Going back to the recoat conversation. So this was an existing floor that the homeowner did not want to resand. Their goal was to create a color as deep as the doors. Now, in realistic conversations, I had to say to the contractor, I think you can go a lot closer, but you can't really yield that dark a color. It's just too challenging to make that big a step. But I think in the end, you can see he did multiple coats. The homeowner was happy enough. It was a pretty remarkable change between those two the beginning and the end. This is where I think in the residential world, I would like to have some more fun, is custom concepts. So when we think about what we can do in gym world, creating game lines, why not translate that I think it's possible we could start doing faux finishing in existing floors. You look at that picture on the right, that was an incredible design idea. A lot of taping, but the option to maybe work with groups that do these vinyl masking could simplify a pattern like that. The one on the left, of course, that I did in my own house just to test the theory, I think gives us an idea of what we could do with just tinting finish on an existing floor situation. So there you go. Let's tackle a couple of questions.
Mr. Nathan, that was awesome as always. Love the experimental floor in your house. Whoever buys that house after you is going to have all kinds of finish on that floor. So some of the questions that are coming in, I think you kind of answered when you talked about it, but they came in a little bit earlier. But one of the questions that I didn't hear you answer was, can I help even out the color of stain with tinting?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an opportunity that when you're fighting a floor, it kind of goes to that pine floor. Because he could not get the stain to take uniformly because of some of the existing character the homeowner wanted to leave, the tint coat gave him the ability to warm it up. But if you think you saw on that other floor with the recoat, you can go a little darker yet, and that would definitely even out the color.
One of the questions, do you have crossover formulas to match competitive stains?
We have lots of them. I've been working on that conversation with contractors for quite a while now, and we do have a fair amount of colors matched. Feel free to give us a call. I know our good guy, Jim Owen inside, is working on getting it up on our website, but feel free to call any of the reps and Dave Spoon and his team, and we can get you those formulas.
Yeah, that won't be too long before we get that. Somebody from Chicago is asking, do you have a formula to match Northwestern for sport floor?
The purple, I do. So we know our primary and secondary colors, your red, blue, and yellow, your primaries, they can create orange, purple, and green. So purple is a mix of red and blue. If you do 2 parts red, 1 part blue, you're going to get a wonderful purple color.
You did sort of mention this in your presentation, but I'll ask it anyway. Can you apply tinting finish over pre-finished wood floors?
You can. Now, we're back to the conversation about a recoat. And most contractors understand that there's some challenges with recoats. It has to be cleaned properly. You have to make sure it's contaminant free. You have to make sure that there's no acrylic polishes on the floor or waxes on the floor. So that's got to be the starting point. Once that's all established and you know you have the confidence that you can get good adhesion with a finish, now you're basically just adding the color according to your desire and recoating that floor.
Yeah, there was a pretty similar question a couple of weeks ago about whether you can use it with the tie coat system. So
Yeah.
that's yes. Does your white stain yellow?
No. So that's an interesting conversation about white stains in the past. Is people complain about tannin pull and yellowing. A lot of it has to do with the chemistry of the product itself. The core of our stain is not oil based. It has an oil component, but not a component that can cause it to yellow over time. Unfortunately, in the oil-based world, that is always a possibility. The product can yellow over time.
Which brings us to another question. If I use a white stain on the floor and it's not white enough, can I tint the finish with white stain?
Absolutely. It's actually one of the most frustrating things contractors deal with in the white stain world is customers want to have a truly bright white. And anytime the wood tone has any kind of play, it usually nullifies the desire of the homeowner to get that bright white. So yeah, you can stay in our floor white with HyperTone white as a core. And then from there, add white to the finish to add to the brightness of that white tone. Same with browns. If a customer is looking for a deeper tone, mid-stride of the project, stain it the color you got going on and add a little enhancement to it.
That actually, a couple questions was, can I make, if the stain's not dark enough, can I make it darker? If the stain's too light, can I make it darker? So you're pretty much answering both those questions.
The only thing you can't really do is try and take a dark stained floor and make it look lighter. That's a pretty challenging thing to do with just a tint coat. I think you really got to go back to the basic of sanding that floor down and starting over.
Okay. And last question, it's the exact opposite question with the white. Can I make my black, this I get the question every single time, which is, can I make my black floor blacker?
I can make your floor look like it's painted black if you really want to go that dark. You kind of saw that briefly in our little video where we're doing the game line of black. The level of intensity we can create with this color has really never been seen in the flooring market. So we're pretty excited about what it can do.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that we really do well on this is to make the black floors black.
Yeah.
Well, with that, we're kind of run out of time. Mr. Nathan, as always, you did fantastic. I'm gonna do some cheap. I can never. Let me see if I gotta do something here. Stop video. I gotta change something here.
I do want to add a quick comment though, Robert, that we should always tell people when you tint coat floors, it's advisable to always do a clear coat on top. Just in case, it really does prevent any kind of scratches from showing in the colorant if you went with a heavy color load in that tint coat.
Okay, one more second here. Okay, now you see my real world here. I'm stuck in my office. I wasn't at that fancy house. That fancy house is one of the Floor of the Month winners from last month. And we, in case you don't know, we're doing a Floor of the Month contest, a sport Floor of the Month contest, and then we're also doing a commercial residential Floor of the Month. And all you have to do is take your pictures, post them on Instagram, hashtag WoodFloorProud, and you're automatically entered into our contest. If you win it for the month, you get $250 worth of free basic coatings materials. And if you win it at the end of the year, which is all the contestants that won the monthly contest, for the sport guys, they get a custom painted tape machine. And for the residential commercial guy, they get the Festool T55 saw and rail. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Mr. Nathan, fantastic. And
Thank you, everyone.
Everybody stay safe out there. Thanks for joining us today.
Have a great day.